So, now that we're done with Taiko, I guess we can move to the most mid-game out of all Furosu mode has ever offered, Catch the Beat. I'm Nelly. I'll be showcasing the MCA 2019. I'm here with JBH. What's up, my dude?
Hey Nelly, thanks for the introduction. Good to speak to you again. Hope you're all doing well. So yeah, 2019 MCA. Gonna see the two of us if we can remember what happened. Not 2 days, not 2 months, but 2 years ago. I don't know if anyone remembers everything that happened in 2019. We certainly do not. But we're going to try our best with the results from the Mappers' Choice Awards to see what you, the mappers and modders of this great game mode, have decided was worthy for being the best of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think nobody really remembers what happened in 2019, so we're gonna try our best to explain what actual maps are and what particular user did. So we're gonna do our best.
Yeah, so please be gentle, everyone. If we forget something or we get something wrong, please feel free to shout at us in the Twitch chat, and we will probably ignore you, but we'll thank you afterwards after the stream.
But who knows? Who knows? So for tradition, we're gonna start from map categories, then users, and then we're gonna reveal the brand awards. Simple as that.
Our first category is the map category, as Nelly just said, for spread, I believe. So that's where we're going to be heading first. So this is a map category for map sets, obviously with a full spread of difficulties, so marathons excluded, and obviously all from 2019 at their time of ranking.
I guess we can start the showcase. So coming third, the first map we're going to showcase is Rockbus's Opus from 2019, Shinobi Kill, a full solo set by him, with a first choice of 2 and a total votes of 12. Although Shinobi Kill was Conflict, map by Bunray.
Are we moving on already? Wow, super speedy.
We're super speedy, yeah.
So Shinobi Kill was ranked in May of 2019 and was second in Community Choice, so shows that people are pretty happy with that one. Very popular.
Yeah, we're
features
ready.
a lot of these cool wiggling patterns that really made Rockmer kind of a household name in terms of breaking out from an aspiring top-level player turned mapper into like the very, very popular, well-known mapper of high-end difficulties that we know today.
Definitely. And this is also his pure solo set, all created by him. What a mad lad.
So that's going to rank up number 3rd in spread category. So we're going to go on to 2nd place, the first runner-up. And that is going to be a map that I'm sure everyone knows extremely well. Huge set, hosted by Ascendance, but with, I think, about 10 guest diffs or kind of collaborators on this spread as well. This is Hype Feet Such, the Lapix remix from Psyche. Very well known. Great storyboard by Tochi, great hit sounds from Illuminate. A whole vast array of difficulties to choose from here. Pretty much everyone who's anyone in 2019 and prior was involved in this set in some way, helped it become the set that it was. Ascendance's 100th ranked map. We got Spec, we got CLSW, we got AFB, Rockmer, Sorceress, Bunray, Benita, Xerox. There's a whole massive list of people that contributed to this, and you, the mappers, voted it your 2nd most popular spread set of 2019. Anything you want to add to Hype, Nelly?
I would say, overall, this map set, like one classic set, everyone is here. Like, you have pretty much all famous people joining into the set to make this project happening by Ascendance. And yeah, that's a really good effort for sure. Plus the storyboard, which we're gonna talk about it a little bit later.
We'll maybe see this again later in the storyboard kind of category for MCA later on. I really do hope that this got voted despite being on a non-standard game mode, because it is a really fantastic storyboard, and credit to Tochi for the great work on this one. But unfortunately, the combined efforts of Hype only enough for second place in 2019 spread. So we're moving on to number 1.
And number 1 will be, oh look, another Ascendance map, but it's Chroma I. The first place, first choice is 3 in total votes of 11. That map wins the category of spread. Well, what can I say? It's the same contribution to Hype, except well, it was made by high-end game players like myself. Pretty washed up. I must say that. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, even I was featured in this set. Thank you, Ascendance, for that. But yeah. Anything else you want to add, GBH?
I just wanted to say this was the winner of the Community Choice 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So clearly popular amongst both players and mappers. Broke a lot of boundaries. I think star rating changes have nerfed it slightly, but I believe it was the first 10-star ranked catch map at the time. That got, I think, cruelly snatched away from it. But love it or hate it, pretty much everyone heard of and played this map. It was either infamous or famous, depending on your opinion. I don't know if Bunrei is here, but I think she could attest to the 2 or so thousand play count put into the top difficulty alone, that it's got to be a good map, right?
So yeah.
But yeah, it's the winner of the spread category for 2019, and since this is a fairly short song, just 2 minutes, we'll let it play out towards the end. You can see like the BPM and the kind of density allowed for some really crazy patterns here, which, although like they seem very normal now, but this really was like pushing the limits of what people considered rankable at the time. And I think it's a testament to how far we've come in the last couple of years that this is considered like fairly acceptable now, but it really was not at the time.
Yeah, back then it was.
There we go.
Yeah, back then it was fairly controversial for its time, but now like probably like even more people can do stuff like this. I mean, map stuff like this. So right now it's nothing too special.
Well, I'm sure you will want to see that once again, but we are going to be moving on to the marathon category. So this is obviously the opposite of the spread category that we've seen. This is single difficulty or kind of multiple difficulties that over the 5-minute mark. So this is going to be our traditional kind of approval map category. And we're again going to start at number 3 and work our way up to number 1. And coming in third place is going to be a map by Yume no Himiko. This is Oriental Blossom Eiko Shuhei, a very popular song in 2019. I believe it had 3 sets of this song ranked all within the span of 1 year, 2 short versions, and this, the long version from Yume Himiko. Fantastic storyboard, really solid hit sounds as well. And at the time, again, similar to Chroma I, there was a lot of these long extended slider patterns, like hyper sliders, that we're not going to get to see because they're quite late on into the map and we don't really have time to cover the whole 5 minutes. But yeah, they were considered quite kind of wacky and innovative at the time, but they're really, really common in mapping today. So definitely a worthy placement. This is a map that helped set trends that are far more common today.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, like the specific song, Oriental Blossom, it was ranked by 2 people, which is a spectator with also sort of a massive people join up with a few guest difficulties. It was a relatively huge set, in my opinion, and the Celerich.
Yes,
but
the Celery had a solo set as well.
Yeah, and if I want to add something myself, is that the map itself is really, really high effort one. I'm so sad that it didn't win the first, but results as results. I mean, the storyboard is insane. I think overall the map could be a little bit like, I don't want to say less clean, but I would say more hard. I think that's kind of one of the reasons that didn't really appeal to many players. But yeah, so glad it was showcased on the 3rd place.
So let's carry on to our 2nd place map for the marathon category.
That's Korea No Tears, collab with 1J and Sekre. first choices of 2 and total votes of 8. Second honorable place for Marathon. This was made with Creo Quest Mappers Guild. Like, this is probably like one of the first quests that we've applied on. First, obviously, was a newbie, but like, I'm not gonna talk about it for a little bit. But yeah, Marathon itself is really techy with relatively low AR for this kind of song. I mean, overall song is low BPM anyway.
Yeah, so obviously a BPM 124 and that approach rate of 8.7, which is obviously pretty low compared to what you see at a lot of marathons. And I think for 2019, for both 1J and Chicken Bible or Sekka now, this was a map that really defined their styles as people who map more technical, lower approach rate maps really nicely. And I think that it was something that kind of gave them the springboard they needed to be like the successful mappers that they are today. And yeah, of course, they had mapped before this, but I think this was a big part in defining their style and how they kind of presented themselves as mappers to the community at large. And I think this was one of my favorite maps of 2019 for sure. I really enjoyed how it took a fairly kind of low BPM and not overly complex song, but still made it hugely interesting with that kind of lower approach rate and the kind of the strong dashing and the wiggling patterns as well. But yeah, we're going to move on to the final placement in marathon category, the winner, the best marathon map from 2019 as voted by you.
Raised by Sword, not by Ascendance.
So this one coming in right at the beginning of 2019, 14th of January, was kind of the beginning of Ascendance's great year. Very, very different to Nautilus in a lot of ways, like high BPM, high approach rate, longer as well at nearly 7 minutes, like just full-on death streams for kind of huge portions, and really appealed to a lot of kind of higher skilled players at the time. Yeah, just kind of wasn't expecting this one to win. I did think it was a really good map, and it is fun to play, but certainly coming in that leading spot with those 4 first choice votes.
I guess because of Ascendance's simple style, I think it helped to create a relatively clean map, which is also streamy as hell as the whole song progresses. But yeah. So we're done with Marathon. I think it's time to move on to the next category, which is Collab. The top div must be featured 2 maps in 1 div. That's all. That's like your whole category.
Normally we would kind of have this as like marathons that were a collab, but we've defined it this year as everything that has a collaborative map for the top difficulty. And in fact, all of the maps that are about to be showcased for the collab category do have more than 1 difficulty, which I think is fantastic. So we're going to get into the 3rd place map for the collab category in just a second.
So, we're gonna start with JB Hyperion. Wow, the man himself I'm talking with, and Sorceress. Good time.
Yeah,
Artist by Lapix.
This was the winning entry for the Ultimate Catch Mapping Contest's 2nd edition, hosted by Ascendance, High Ascendance. Nice to see you there. So the first contest was, I think, way more of a success than anyone anticipated, and this 2nd contest was kind of the natural kind of conclusion to that. So Sorceress and I mapped the overdose difficulty, and then I put a little rain on the bottom to kind of spread it out nicely. And yeah, I don't want to kind of go on too much about my own map, but if you make a mapping contest and you don't allow custom hit sounds, then you're evil, and I suffered and died for your sins. Because 5 minutes of hit sounding with only default samples was really hard.
I mean, I can definitely imagine that. I mean, maybe it's a little bit adorable for a contest, like any contest, basically, where you need to do like default samples and stuff, but yeah, I can definitely imagine that.
Just before we carry on. I'm just really glad this is here because I thought it was a really cool song. A lot of people kind of complained that the map was too long for a contest, even though it was a collab, but I thought it was great. And Lapix for featured artist, please, Peppy, make it happen.
Please, I swear to God, like for real.
But yeah, if you've got nothing else to add, Nelly, we can move on to second place.
Not really.
So here's one we have seen just a little bit for, a bit more Lapix, remixed this time. This is, again, hype feat such that we saw in the spread category. Collab difficulty, Ascendance and Spectator.
Remember where I said, like, we're gonna talk about this stuff for a little bit? So yeah, here we are again.
So in terms of spread, we've obviously talked about how there were a huge number of different guest difficulties on offer, and how like lots of people who'd been a driving force behind catch mapping in the previous years collaborated. So this time we're just focusing really on the top difficulty, which is the Dreamland diff between Ascendance and Spectator. And I played through this again a little earlier today for the first time in a while, and it really has stood up. I love this map to death. You can really tell the kind of difference between their two styles, but they just merge together really nicely. Ascendance saying Spec carried. I mean, he's a very good mapper, but you're not giving yourself enough credit there, Ascendance. Like, both parts of this kind of played really nicely together.
I mean, as you said before, combining those two styles, which is sort of similar in a way, but mapped differently, like patterns and stuff, and that kind of fits really nicely, like a bread and butter. So yeah, it's a little bit expected to this difficulty being the second place for category for collab.
Yeah, despite all the people that participated on this and all the kind of skills and assets that it has, this didn't win. This is only number 2 with those 3 first choice places. So we're going to be going on to the winner, since we've already talked about this set quite a little bit. The winner of the collab category for 2019 is Camellia's Crystallized, Spec taking the slot once again, this time with Minato Yukina, or CLSW, for people who have not been around in the past 3 or so years. 8 first choice selections. This was by far and away the catch mapping community's most popular offering for the collab category.
Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised by this one as well.
Yeah, I myself nominated this map. Like, it's the same with Hype, where 2 similar styles fit together, with Ascendance and Spectator. But like, there's not a better duo other than Spectator and Minato Yukina, or CLSW. Like, CLSW has been like for ages at this point with Spectator, developing and making the new meta for mapping that we see like regularly at this point. So yeah, it's not a surprise that SPAP particularly will get to win the collab category. So
it's great to see that even in like 2019, when Minato Yukina has been away from the game for a little while, people are still remembering these kind of amazing maps that he's created with himself and with others. Really a testament to the legacy that he's left of the game. And Spec didn't have the most active 2019. 2020 was really where he kind of came back to the game, came back to BN, really started churning out more maps and more difficulties with the advent of like the Mappers Guild. So yeah, for 2 of his kind of creations to be in the top 2 for collab really shows that he's quite a timeless mapper that everyone can pretty much have a good map with. He really does bring people up to his level.
Yeah, also, I want one more thing I want to say. Like, map particularly, it's been for great for a whole while, like until 2019. And I believe Spectator wrote in Twitch chat that that was the only thing he did in 2019 because of, well, IRL reasons. But yeah.
This one was in CWC 2019, I think? Or was it 2020? It was in a CWC, in one of the last 2 years, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was Algebra. I think it was Algebra, like the another collab set, but it's not featured here.
Okay. Maybe I'm misremembering, but either way, this was like a real labor for Spec and CLSW, because it was submitted early in 2018, and it took like almost, like just over a whole year to reach ranked, just the 2 difficulties, both of which are collabs. So yeah, real care and love put into that one, and that's going to be the victor of the collab category. And shoutouts to, again, the amazing storyboard, this time by Yumina Himiko, who we saw as a mapper a little earlier on. Needs to get a little bit of love too.
Oh yeah, I also realized he has a storyboard. Yeah, it's quite simple, but I mean, extra effort. Why not?
So there's our collab category. Going to be moving on. Hit sounding is next on the table, and obviously this is pretty much what it says on the tin. Best hit sounding, most creative hit sounding, most varied hit sounding, whatever people thought defined hit sounding as good is going to be coming up next. So again, we're going to be starting from number 3, and we're not going to spend too long on number 3 because it's a map that we have seen a couple of times already.
So third place for best hit sounding is Hype.
If you're not fed up with Hype already, then yeah, keep it tight. We've got a few more of these perhaps coming up. I had to listen through all the hit sounding kind of winners again this morning just to kind of remind myself, because I think hit sounding is something that doesn't necessarily stick with you as easily as like the difficulty or the storyboard. It's not such a visual thing, and I tend to have to go back and listen to hit sounding again and say, what was the hit sounds and what was the song and how well did they kind of marry together. And Luminate is the mapper, the creator of the hit sounds on this set. Did a really good job. Nothing kind of too flashy or crazy, but just really nicely married. Fairly simple samples and kind of consistently into creating a really nice effect throughout.
All I want to say is I believe in Luminate's supremacy. If he did the hit sounding, then yeah.
I mean, I think Atlantico Blue is a Luminate map from 2020 that I remember having fantastic hit sounding, and that's easily one of my favorite maps and hit sounding efforts in the game. So no surprise to see that Luminate had such skills before that and has presented them here. So yeah, props to Luminate for that one. So we're going to be moving on to the second place map.
And that map I'm sort of familiar. It's Calling by Auto Fanboy. Now, Auto Fanboy itself is not only the crazy mapper when it comes to clean style and stuff, plus this map is also techie, but Auto Fanboy itself, like, he's the god of hit sounding. Every single object here is literally hit sounded with a different volume setting. And not to mention, the samples are used, like, it fits perfectly to the song.
Yeah, Auto Fanboy is someone who likes to plant forests of green lines in all of his difficulties in the editor. You can really see that hit sounding means so much to AFB in the maps that he creates. And as you said, like the number of samples and volume changes and things that he used in this map, you just had to take one look at the editor and at the song folder, and you just get a real sense of, hey AFB, how many samples would you like to use? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like there's so many different cymbals and drums and little synth sound effects used, and they don't kind of feel like random or arbitrary at all. Like, you can tell that everything is put where it is put for a reason. Every tiny little volume increase or decrease is done intentionally and deliberately, and it marries really nicely into the map.
Yeah, all I want to say is, like, it's not only this map is included, like with the gorgeous hit sound, but almost any ranked map has at least a really, really good effort in hit sounding. So that's insane how he didn't blow himself up while creating hit sounds like this.
So if we want to go on to the hit sounding winner, something that could trump this Calling from Auto Fanboy, we're going to find out what that is.
And
it is Conflict. I think of all maps that could have beaten Calling and could have won hit sounding in 2019, I think this is an immediate obvious choice, and it stuck with a lot of our kind of voters as well. 7 first place votes, 11 in total. Clearly the mapper's favorite, and just as we said that everything is placed deliberately, like lots of different samples used in Calling, this I'm pretty sure this is key sounded, right?
Yeah,
Like
I believe
some of
it's a little bit
half the
key-sounded.
sections are key sounded, and I actually went through this map again this morning before the kind of stream just to kind of catch up. Bunrae had to like nerf the hit sounding because there was so many files and everything was like so big. The song folder literally could not support the amount of hit sounding that she wanted to do. So yeah, like the hit sounding was literally so powerful that this map had to be nerfed because the game couldn't be changed. And yeah, Ascendance raises a really good point. Bunrae actually won hit sounding last year with the easy normal hit sounded spread for the Undertale song. I'm forgetting the name. It's been kind of so long at this point. But yeah, Bunrae, an absolute legendary hit sounder of this game. Sparing a thought for poor AFB was second to Bunrae in both 2018 and 2019. I mean, I don't think there's any shame in being second to Bunrae. She is a fantastic hit sounder and key sounder.
That's a good mapper. Well, I'm talking from the future. But yeah, we're done with hit sounding. Now it's time for experimental, sort of like unorthodox meta.
So yeah, anything that was considered weird, wacky, different, off meta, whatever people thought was not the norm, that's going to show up in experimental.
And yeah, let's move on. And since we mentioned conflict, we're gonna mention it again because we can. Plus, the results showing itself. So I believe it was featured in third place clearly because of this difficulty you see here. I believe like it wasn't even the top difficulty. It was like the second hardest after the overdose, like a clean one. that's how meta it is.
That's the nicest way of putting it. Conquest of the Damned was the difficulty name of that top set. And I think pretty much every point in the map, it was deliberately kind of made to be unnerving, unsettling, challenging, abnormal. And the overdose difficulty, which although has a higher star rating, is like the complete opposite to that difficulty in every way. It's kind of nice and comforting and flowing. And I think Bunrae even had to put a disclaimer in the description, like, overdose is not the hardest difficulty in this set.
Yeah.
Do not be fooled. Like, if you want challenge, if you want kind of difficulty, if you want intrigue, then Conquest of the Damned is the diff to play, and they did a fantastic job with it.
Let's move to the second place.
So coming in as the runner-up for Experimental, Driving Greedy, Nato Remix, Hatsukura. So this is Rockmer making an appearance for the runners-up. So 3 first choice votes. When I first played this, I didn't think it was that experimental, and then I realized that it was. I didn't feel it was experimental because it was quite similar to a lot of. It executed things similar to how I wanted to do things, but better because Rockmer is like a better player than I am.
He did better than
and
you.
It felt normal to me because I love playing maps just like this, and I love what was done with Driving Greedy. I think it's one of the best maps of 2019, and I'm so happy that it got kind of noticed here. Criminally underplayed though, by the way. This map needs way more love.
Yeah, I think it barely reached 1,000 play count, but yeah, like that's pretty much Normal's rock map when it comes to this kind of style. Like, he's not doing this for the first time. Like, here it clearly shows like it's 2019. Like, definitely there are things could be better, but yeah, like that sort of mapping style you don't really see. I wouldn't call it so often. Sometimes even like that rarely happens. I'll be honest here. And I believe it was also featured in CWC, right?
I don't know if it was
As a double
CWC
time,
or whether
actually.
it was.
I'm not even sure
whether it was an
myself.
AXS. I'm pretty sure it's been featured in tournament. But I think one thing that was really interesting about this map that people are maybe starting to come around to more now is that marathons don't need to be like AR 9.6 or 9.8 or something. regardless of what BPM they are. This used AR9 really, really nicely with the kind of complex patterns and some of the tricky spacing, a lot of the high density that made it a challenge to read, which is why it's in experimental. And I would really like if people kind of took inspiration from maps like this and didn't feel the need to kind of force high approach rates on marathons or any difficulty really at all, just to try and make it harder. In some ways, having the lower approach rate makes it harder, because now everyone is so used to reading like 9.5 and above.
Yeah. But of course, nothing really compares this map to the first place.
I think everyone should have some kind of idea what the first place pick is going to be. Everyone voted for it, at least in some kind of regard, so we're going to be moving on to that now. The winner of the MCA 2019 Catch Experimental category.
Personality.
You love it.
Ascendance. The most controversial map of 2019 for sure.
Absolutely, far and away, the map that either got the most people paying attention to Catch, or to mapping, or to the featured artist project, or just everything in general, really. Like, this map existed, and suddenly everybody had an opinion about almost everything that like the mapping scene and everything that it had become was involved in. And a lot of people really didn't like this map at all. And you can read through the comments in the maps discussion if you want to go back and relive a little bit of the glory days of how people conversed politely in 2019. But a lot of people, myself included, really, really loved this map. And I think they just did a fantastic job of pushing boundaries, of challenging people. And people would say, like, oh, this map is uncomfortable to play. Okay, well, it's meant to be. Well, why is it meant to be uncomfortable, people would say. Why are maps meant to be comfortable? It really made us ask a lot of questions as to why things are the way they are. And maybe, looking back on it now, some things could have been executed better. Maybe some things could have been tried differently. But
yeah,
mapping now people wouldn't be trying the things that they're trying if this map hadn't existed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the map was so controversial. It was probably hated for a week, when it was qualified, until it got ranked, and everyone forget about it. But I don't know, for mappers' perspective, it's really, really nice map, but of course, by players' perspective, it's really different. Of course, low CS and low AR, it's like not really bread and butter, but compared to, like, I don't know, hundreds of ranked maps, and one that potentially like the most controversial, it's like, I guess the balance is still there, it's like wherever, but people hated it for some reason. I believe I also hated it for a little bit, but I don't know, I don't really paid attention to this kind of drama, personally.
I mean, yeah, to add on to what you said, like, it has the low circle size, or the small surf fruits, it has, like, the low approach rate, but not only that, like, the map itself, like, doesn't look like a lot of other maps, because the song isn't like other songs. Like, to make a generic kind of comfortable map to a song like this just wouldn't have made sense. So I think this was the right thing to do. And one thing I did notice this morning, which I thought was really cool, Onumi actually posted in the comments for a 1 million play count, saying thank you for making the map, which I thought was like super wholesome and cool. So go support Onumi, because they make awesome music.
Yeah, and there are also like few songs available for summer 2020 update FA listings, so yeah. Now
Okay,
we're down,
so
we're down to experimental. Let's go.
Yeah, one mainline category left in mapping categories, and that is featured artist. So obviously, every song that was mapped from a featured artist doesn't have to have been part of the Mappers Guild, is eligible here. So we're going to be starting off with number 3 in the featured artist category. And interestingly enough, we actually have a 3-way tie for third place in this category. So we'll try our best to not cover too much of the ones that we've already covered, and then obviously go into more detail in the ones that we have covered. So Nautilus, with 2 first choices, is going to be the first of the 3-way tie for that third place in featured artist.
Yeah, as I said, like before, like in the collapse section, like this was done on Korea's quest. So obviously, like we needed to create three, I believe three maps, like in order to finish it. But yeah, and I believe this was like the first map that was ranked like between us, like Chicken Bible, Wanje, me, and other members that was in the quest.
Yeah, so as we said, this collab between Seka and 1J really helped define their styles, helped bring a lot of people into the featured artist kind of Mappers Guild environment, I think, in a way, because it was a very interesting map. It did things that a lot of other maps didn't do, and the song's just a banger. Like, you can't really complain. Like, Creo good. Dopamine for my brain.
He's good, indeed. We're gonna jump to the second, third place, like the bronze one. We have yet another map, which
The
is
second,
a
third
bundle
place
map.
third place sounds really weird, but you are completely correct.
Yeah, so Illusion of Conflict, not by Gemzu, created by Huyan. Like, what can I say? This map is bundled, and yeah, as you can see, those streams are a little bit uncomfy, but that's probably what makes a good map.
Yeah, so as you said, this has been fortunate to be bundled, and I feel like, deserving or not, this map has been bundled. It's been quite lucky with the bundled algorithm. Currently sitting at 2.2 million play count, which I think is far, far above any other kind of solo catch set. So congratulations, Gemzu, or A James, back then in August 2019. On this creation. This was kind of before Gemzu had really started fully experimenting and becoming like the kind of experimental, quite wacky, quite innovative mapper that he's known for today. So this kind of feels quite, I want to say plain, but not in a nasty way, like just very clean, very just well executed by like modern Gemzu standards. But yeah, really nice job, all the same. And that's going to be sharing our third place spot.
Yeah, before he mapped Eroge as A. James, and now he renamed Gemsu, mapping the song banger, so what we see now in 2021.
He was liberated from the Eroge nation, born under a new name.
So, we're gonna jump to yet another third place, for real this time, like the actual final map. And this one is from the contest. It's Melody of Heaven, hosted by JB Hyperion.
This is one that you and I can both talk a little bit about, because we were both in this contest. The Catch Mapping World Cup initial contest from 2019. This was the one of the two first round songs, along with Sotui's The World. And I think this one was the one that most mappers preferred of the two songs. So for the contest itself, I think we all made kind of overdoses, and then the kind of lower diffs were made by me a bit later on. So we got the Team Russian Federation overdose showing up right now. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Nelly, your boys?
Yeah, like, first thing, like, my part was already passed on, so now it's my Elise's part. God damn it.
I'm sorry, I talked for too long.
It's fine, like, yeah, what can I say about this diff? It was fairly quick, like, with no drastic, I want to say conflict or something. We did a few, like, modding before we initially pushed it, and I believe I also hit sound at this difficulty all by myself. As far as I can remember, yeah. The hit sounder, don't quote me, please.
Winning hit sounder 2020, maybe?
No way.
Yeah, so this was like one of my favorite maps, not because I think I did a really good job on it, but I just got to collab with so many cool people. Like, we have like Team UK had a diff, and Team Philippines had a diff with like all 5 of their members. Like, as you said, the Russian Federation had that 3-person diff as well. It was just a really cool like collab of different styles and people, and everyone had fun with, like, I think this was kind of early on in the contest before things got like really stressful and heated, and we were all kind of having lots of fun.
Yeah.
This was really good, and the Catch Mapping World Cup 3rd edition is actually starting very, very soon, towards the end of the month.
Let's go.
If you like to see more kind of cool creative maps from some of the world's best mappers, do be on the lookout for the results of that contest, like first round starting very soon.
Oh, this is my part, by the way. Now
There
it's
we
showing my
go.
part. Let's go.
We managed to circle back around to see Nelly's part. It was all tactical.
So yeah, we're actually done with 3rd places, so we can actually move on to the real 2nd place. Thankfully, it's only the 2nd place now with multiple maps in the same spot. That is Conflict.
Yeah, a map that we've already seen a couple of times for obvious reasons, like hit sounding and experimental, like very kind of outstanding map. So there was really no surprise that it would appear again here, given that it is a featured artist song. Cranky with one of the largest catalogs of all of our featured artists, and for good reason. Like, there is almost no song that this guy makes that isn't a complete banger.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked a lot about this map. What can I say? Cranky FA, really good stuff, plus Conflict. I definitely know it's Bunray's most favorite song, because she's been playing like for, I don't know, for years, like making Conflict. She even did like a full version of Conflict, which is great. So unfortunately,
yeah. Not only is there like this version of Conflict, which has the 6 diffs, there's the Conflict full version, which has 2 difficulties, which is like 4.5 minutes long. So that's another 9 minutes of Conflict. And there's also a remixed version of Conflict, which is another 3 minutes single diff. So all in all, Bunray has mapped like 30 minutes of this song on 3 separate sets. It really is like Bunray's favorite song. And if you love the song, then maybe you can kind of help her like push even more conflicts, because clearly the world needs more conflict.
Maybe. But yeah, we're gonna move finally to the 1st place, and Alien Flyby was actually right about the map we're particularly gotta explain now, which is Crystallized. Camellia is also feature artist, don't forget. Spectator Minata Yukina, on your eyes.
I don't think anyone could forget Camellia as a featured artist when the catalogue is like nearly 200 songs long. They made that fantastic World Cup finals tiebreaker. Like, they're making like million PP and 727 BPM.
And with Psy.
Like, Camellia is just so in with us. It's really fantastic to see, like, not only the artists kind of providing their music for us to use in the game, but also showing an investment in how that music is done, and the things that are created with that music is just so cool to see as like a humble like circle placer on the video game.
Yeah, like Camellia itself, like he's probably the only out of all B-Money artists that actually respects a lot of users, like not only in OSA but in particular games as well, plus genres. Like his recent UFO, like a UFO album, featured Beastrel MC and other various members that creates music, like Richard B, 8-Bit Drummer, and even Toby Fox himself. So it's really, really fascinating. And I also listened to the whole album. It was a blast.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to that album recently, it like launched last week, didn't it? Or was it early this week? If you haven't listened to that album, go listen to that album. It is so good.
Yeah, I think it was released like a few days ago.
But anyway, we're talking too much about Camellia. We gotta praise the map a little bit more. As we said in the collab section, Spec and CLSW, or Minato Yukina now, really, as you said, kind of one of the ultimate duos of catch mapping. Like, I feel like even in 10 years, we'll still get like a Spec and CLSW map once every year or once every 2 years, and everyone will love it, even if they both put in no effort, which is obviously not the case here. Then people still flock to their content for obvious reasons, because they are two of the greatest mappers, not only individually, but also together as well.
Yeah, and Minato itself like also tweeted like recently, he maybe returned to to map a little bit. Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe this is inspirational, so we'll see and we'll hope.
Or maybe
yeah,
a
you
bait.
can see there. Maybe a bait. But yeah, those seven first choices don't lie. This was a huge favourite for everyone who was interested in featured artists this year. And interestingly, since we're on the topic of featured artists, 2019 was actually the year that the Mappers Guild was first open to kind of the public, and I put that in like air quotes because it existed beforehand. But as far as catch is concerned, none of us were in like the kind of private club where people could map new featured artist releases or things like that. And FA kind of really exploded in 2019 right from the get-go with like Onumi and Creo and those quests as well. So yeah, really good to see that people are still kind of massively behind the featured artist program, even now, so that there's like so many new artists.
Thank you, Fishy, for opening Mappers Guild for everyone.
Hooray!
So
I think that is all of our map set categories, is that right?
not really, but we're gonna mention it a little bit. But now we're gonna jump to the users category. So we're gonna start with Mapper and then move slowly get into the grand awards.
So the first user category that we're going to look at is rather kind of obviously is Mapper. So this is just people that created the best, the most interesting, whatever people thought defined someone as being a good mapper is going to be coming up next. So again, we're going to start with third place, then second, and obviously first.
So let's start with Gemzu, the third place of the best mapper award. And what other map is featured other than Hi?
Yeah, so a little bit earlier I said that when we were talking about Illusion of Inflict, that A. James, or now Gemzu, was kind of like discovering technical mapping and like really kind of branching out into being a more varied but also a more prolific mapper as well. And this is kind of really evident in you look at the statistics from Gemzu's 2019. He ranked 29 diffs in 2018, which at the time was the most diffs that anyone in 2018 of a new mapper had ranked. And then he upped that to 66 diffs in 2019 with 8 sets that he hosted himself. So yeah, really did kind of come into his own in 2019 and has launched on from there to become probably the most prolific mapper of the last kind of year and a half, I would say.
Yeah, Gemzu, like during this year, like he's slowly but surely unlocking his full potential with mapping various songs until he went fully like technical songs like hardcore Tennessee stuff labels, Bimani, and etc. And I think that was like one of the reasons that we know Gemzu for today, right now in July 2021. It's fascinating how the progress actually changed the person, I guess.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Gems a little higher up on kind of future iterations of Mapper's Choice Awards, because he really has become one of the kind of leading figures in catch mapping. And although you see there no first choices this year, you can tell that for a lot of people, 10 different voters, he was on their minds as someone who was definitely worthy of mention. So we can move on to number 2, second place.
And it's, oh my god, it's JB Hyperion sitting with me. Do you want to explain a little bit why, why people consider you as the best mapper? Obviously, outside of being like you as still active, but
I mean, they clearly don't consider me the best mapper because I only came second. Ooh, only. No, of course I'm joking. 2019 for me was the last year that I was like fully committed to this game in terms of mapping. From 2020 onwards, I had to kind of let OS take a bit of a back seat, and especially towards the very end of the year, for now obvious reasons. But 2019, as I said before, when like Mappers Guild was opened up and like anyone could kind of put themselves to work in these featured artist quests and things like that, it really revitalized the game for me. It felt really fresh and new and interesting, and it motivated me to try different things. So yeah, if I have any success in 2019, I pretty much exclusively credit it to the Mappers Guild and the fact that I got to collab with tons of cool people. So yeah, thank you for I guess voting me second.
Yeah, I actually forgot that you were active because of Mappers Guild stuff. But yeah, like I guess like without you, like Mappers Guild team like us, like I don't know, it wouldn't be like as we see today. So
yeah, on that note, I want to just formally apologize to everyone who was in my Lukash quest that I worked people way too hard. We didn't intend to rank like 8 sets, but it kind of happened along the way, and yeah, a lot of people got a bit burnt out from that quest. It was really good fun, and I think some of the best kind of featured artist maps that we saw, not mine, but some of my favorite maps came out of that quest. So yeah, thank you for bearing with me through that difficult time. That was really good fun.
You're welcome, Jimmy. It's just fine. Like, this is normal. Yeah, we're gonna move to the first place, and what can any other mapper be other than drum roll, please.
Drum roll is appropriate for the start of Coolest.
Coolest boy!
It was so smooth that you said drum roll and then the Coolest drum roll started. Like, I don't know if that was intentional, but that was fantastic.
But yeah, instead of himself, like he mentioned Spectator being the best mapper, but he wasn't active, so we have Ascendance here. So let's talk about his progress as a mapper, I guess.
Yeah, so Ascendance is the holder of pretty much every record in terms of maps ranked, diffs ranked, collabs performed. In terms of mapping, he ranked 38 different sets in 2019 and 107 difficulties. So in terms of like sheer metrics, you really couldn't like outmatch the amount of contribution that Ascendance made to the game as a mapper in 2019. And I think he will admittedly say that next year he probably doesn't expect to win. He considers 2019 like the end of his era. So maybe this is his kind of final hurrah. But if nothing else, like Community Choice 2019 first place with Chroma Eye, we've already seen hype appear like several times throughout the awards ceremony so far. Like, sure, Ascendance had some kind of fairly average maps in 2019, but they were just outweighed by the sheer volume of really good maps that he put out, and you really can't say anything against the work that he put in as a mapper. There were fairly generic, accessible sets, there were very experimental sets, there were short sets, long sets. Yeah, really, really good job, and deserving winner.
Yeah, all I want to say is that, like, Ascendance, I would say he definitely pushed himself, like, experimented a little bit, like, outside of personality, of course, which I think it was his, like, breakthrough map, like, in terms of, like, how he would change his style a little bit, like, sort of, like, unorthodox for him, but he also, like, push himself a little bit on stream maps, like Raised by Sword is being one of them. So yeah, this was also his year, like of like doing something like a little bit new for him that no one ever does. Like probably like 2 people in our community can. So it's really fascinating.
Yeah. So congratulations to Ascendance on winning 2019 Mapper's Choice Award Best Mapper. But of course, mapping is only half of the kind of mapping community. Modders are essential to see the development of our great game. So we're going to be moving on to the community's best modders of 2019 now.
So starting with the modder, 1J will gotta be. Oh wait, let me double check.
We have a tie for second place.
Yeah, tie for second place, and 1J is one of them. So 1J, like, of course, Allied Nominator 2019, like, it's definitely a fee for him. Yeah. So what are your opinions on 1J, like when it comes to modding?
So 1J was one of the 2 elite nominators of 2019, so clearly had put a lot of work into the game and was recognized by his peers. And I guess you, Nelly, you were a BN throughout some of the time that 1J was in BN, as was I. I was QAT for a couple of months in 2019 as well, so I kind of worked quite closely. I saw him develop. He had 65 different nominations in 2019, which was, again, really, really super high, massive contribution to this game, and really doesn't get enough. I mean, he does get credit, because otherwise he wouldn't be second in this list, a joint second. But 1J kind of quietly blends around in the background, doesn't get so much recognition because he doesn't map quite as much as some other people, but his efforts towards this game mode really can't be understated. He's just super chill, really hardworking, and will help anyone. He's great, and I think that he definitely deserved that Elite BM title.
So it's time to move on to the second place, which is not expected for many, but the results stated like this particular user is a modder, so we're gonna comment on him in a few seconds, I hope. And that is Nokashi? Huh?
Yeah, this, as you said, was a little bit of a surprise for me. 2018 was definitely like the year of Nokashi being the most wholesome guy that just helps everyone, is like the least hateable, most lovable person that you could ever know. 2019 was a bit surprising to see him be kind of here in a joint second with those 6 first choice votes, because he didn't have the most active 2019, just 18 unique nominations. I think he was only BN for a small part of the year. He was BN for a little part, but not for much. So either Nokashi helped like nearly everyone behind the scenes in 2019 and not through BN work, or people are kind of remembering his contributions from 2018 and then again from later in 2020. Or maybe they just love Nokashi because he is one of the most likable people in the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly, even for me, I have nothing really much to say 2019. I guess people, yeah, as you said, I guess people remembering his, I don't know, his cherished personality, like, and the also hardworking user in the Osakachi. So yeah, it's kind of not surprising, like, to expect him like top 3, but definitely not 2019. And there are some people questioning how.
Yeah, maybe he like won 2018 so hard that like the score overflowed and it started contributing to his 2019 votes as well. Maybe that's what happened here.
So next time, guys, don't confuse with 2020, 2019, 2021. Like before you even try to vote. Let's not do that.
That said, still big respect to Nokashi. He is one of the coolest people in this game, and lots of people would not be mapping and modding if it wasn't for him and his encouragement. So, like, you got to take some rough with some smooth.
Yeah. By the way, there's no hate in my words. Please don't pull a gun on me.
Okay, so number 1 modder of 2019.
Try to guess. Gemzu.
Yeah, so
one of the elite nominators outside of 1J. And yeah, this is definitely one of the users that definitely deserves this kind of shout out as a best modder.
Yeah, so whilst Gems was, like, as you saw, at 3rd place in terms of mapper, and he was still kind of finding his feet a little bit, experimenting. Some things were going well, some things were not going so well, and he had to kind of go back to the drawing board. Modding is somewhere that Gemzu immediately hit the ground running, and he made an impact. 82 unique nominations in 2019, the most of any BN that year, I believe. Elite BN, I think now 2 years in a row, so not just 2019, but 2020 also. He was an Elite Nominator. Yeah, he deserves this more so than anyone else. So, yeah, it's a sign of things to come if you haven't been following and you want to look for a little preview of what happens in 2020's NCA, probably.
But yeah, that pretty much concludes the bother section. So the next thing is the most promising category. So a user needs to rank at least one difficulty.
I think this year it was actually changed to one set, not one guest
set?
difficulty. I might be wrong on that, because it was really strange. Rockma won in 2018 despite only ranking one platter, because everyone knew how good his 2019 was. And that was always a little bit like, how did Rockma win 2019? But I think they changed it to like a full set ranked this year. So yeah, we're going to move on to most promising now.
And since you've mentioned Rockma, here it is. This time in the legit, I guess, place, third.
And
look,
perfect
this
timing from Seka there. Perfect timing from Seka there, saying, I swear if Rockma wins anything, I'm going to lose my mind. And then immediately Rockma appears. So great timing there. Yeah, so as I said, Rockma only ranked one guest difficulty in 2018 in the December, so very end of the year. And then people kind of freaked out at his nomination, like nominating him for MCA in 2018, because they saw how good his 2019 was. He ranked like 36 diffs or something. And if it wasn't for that one diff in 2018, he would easily have been the most prolific, I guess, quote-unquote, new mapper in 2019. But this is like a kind of follow-through, giving him a little bit of recognition for the work that he put in 2019. Which was really, really good, by the way. Rockma had been mapping for quite some time by 2019, but 2019 was definitely the year that he really found his style and kind of became much more confident with both mapping and modding and started consistently putting out excellent maps.
Yeah, I mean, in this specific year, like, Rockma started to become really, really active in the rank section after witnessing, like, various years of being in the graveyard pool, like doing the crazy stuff for endgame players and stuff, until he managed to find a passion to the ranked category, which now he's ranking, like, I would say ranked most of the maps now, like to the rank section, thanks to his endgame maps. Like yeah, like Rockma is like definitely one of the mappers that pushed his boundaries.
Yeah, if you're a high kind of tier player in, like, say, the top 50 or 100 or even higher nowadays, and you want a really challenging, really well done map, then I think you kind of knock on Rockma's door and say, hey buddy, hit me up, what you got? People just trust him to make consistently difficult but also really high quality maps, and that's the niche that he's built for himself.
Now let's start to moving on to the second place. And one of them is Kukai.
Yeah, so Kukai was I think the runner-up in terms of, like, best breakout year, so most kind of diffs ranked that hasn't ranked any diffs in a previous year. Only ranked the one set, which is obviously this one, their first ranked set, but had two loved maps as well, and a bunch of guest difficulties as well, so yeah, nice entry from Kukai. Again, similar to Rockma, someone who had been mapping for quite a while, but, like, was just starting to find their feet with ranked mapping, and starting to make things that were kind of more accessible to a lot of like wider players. And I think it was really nice for Kukai. They were someone who always struggled with low diffs and thought, no, I can't do low diffs, I don't know how to do low diffs, I can't mod them, I can't map them. But now, Kukai is one of the mappers I see that consistently puts out sets that they did completely by themselves, like all the way through from Cup up to like 7-star overdoses. And I love that they found that confidence to kind of do things themselves.
Yeah, Kokai, like, similar to Rakba, he's been mapping purely by himself for Graveyard, but now, like, he slowly started to progressing, like, for the rank section, and yeah, this is where we're at now. But of course,
Kokai was the runner-up, and yeah, we have to have a winner. So Nelly, would you like to introduce our winner?
sure. Now Kokai, like one of the most promising mapper, but none of them will ever compare to Greeper, reaching to the highest echelon Anosu to Nat. Oh.
Yeah, so Greeper's story is one of meteoric
finally
rise.
Greeper is featured here. I actually remember like a Greeper, like save for Greeper, like will I ever appear in MCA? Oh, here we are, after probably like 2 years.
Not just appearing, but winning. Yeah, so Greeper ranked 6 sets in 2019, the first year that he'd ever ranked a single difficulty, and 19 difficulties in total. So that was the most of anyone in 2019 that ranked a diff that hadn't ranked a diff before. Coupled that with joining the BN very soon after kind of getting involved with the game. And then, as you said, Nelly, like the reason for them being like most promising was made immediately more obvious when only 3 months after joining BN, they became NAT, which is, I think, by far one of the fastest transitions from like regular user to BN and then also to QAT or NAT now that the game has ever seen, not just in catch.
But yeah, like all I want to say is that although Greeper is mostly mapping, yeah, I'm sorry for saying that, but it is true. You feel like to say like in the modern days, like think like Greeper started to pushing some of the maps that feature in other like rhythm games like Dimani and stuff. Like one of the entries was from Yu Sao, so it's like he's not only mapping for Eric anymore. Like now he's very versatile, very I guess most various like when it comes to mapping songs. So yeah, and like comparing him like 2019, which is obviously a really good achievement, like a really great achievement, I think. But 21 definitely made him mature as a mapper, modder, and I believe also an organizer, considering he's still in Nat.
Yeah, he's like just the all-round package, really, and is really like a good showcase for what you can do as a regular user and like how with a bit of hard work and effort you can very quickly kind of rise up to kind of lead anything that you like, really, and be successful. So more people could take that advice and learn from what Greeper has achieved in 2019. But I think our next category is most influential. So this is obviously a category for people that have influenced, inspired, encouraged others, whether that be in mapping, modding, organizing, leading, managing, or any kind of such sort thereof. So we're going to start off again with the third place user in most influential.
So the third place will be Rockman, not only like one of the most promising, but also the most influential when it comes to like his mapping style. Like I think is definitely one of the reasons why he was voted to the third place.
Yeah, I think Rockma's story is one that encouraged a lot of higher ranked players that maybe didn't feel like they could have an input on the mapping and modding system because they didn't know how to express themselves. But Rockma is someone who, yeah, he used to be a player that struggled quite a lot with kind of expressing what he did and didn't like in maps. And the common response from modders is, like, if you don't like the map, then mod the map and tell me how to do it better. And a lot of people kind of say, well, I don't know how to mod, so I can't. But everyone has to learn, and Rockma learned, and I think he demonstrated that for a lot of people and paved the way for a lot of kind of higher ranked players who didn't map or mod before to get in and have their say on how maps progress and how they get ranked, which was really influential for those players. Some people see mapping and modding as like a closed club, where if you are already in and you know the people, then you succeed, but if you're on the outside, then you can't really do anything. And I think Rockma did feel that he was on the outside at some point, but managed to work his way in and break down that barrier. And now a lot of other people know that they can do that and how to do that as well. So that is, I believe, the influence that Rockma has had.
His history itself is really inspiring. Coming from Grave that also maps only by himself, things like his maps are ideal, but not getting into rank because they're super hard and not consistent at all. But now, of course, like he grew as a mapper, and yeah, this is where we see now.
So congrats to Rockma on that meteoric rise from most promising newcomer to now being almost one of the most influential mappers in the game. Moving on to second place.
Oh wow, that is you, JBH, again. Second place, hooray!
Hooray! So yeah, I guess for my part, in terms of influence, the Mappers Guild, I already said, I think was very cool, brought a lot of people together, and maybe I got people into mapping more featured artist stuff. I was still QAT for a few months at the beginning of 2019, and then I went back down to, or across rather, to BN, and probably helped organize some mapping contests and judged for some things as well. So, although in terms of influence on the game, I feel like I stepped back a lot when I left QAT. I still tried to kind of keep involved and keep helping the game mode, and I guess people kind of agreed that I did do something or other.
You definitely did good.
And thank you for showing more Lukash maps, whoever picked these replays. As I said, good quest, good fun.
Yeah, that was a spicy quest, to say that by myself. But now we're gonna move to the first place, and of course, like, you can probably guess who. It's Ascendance.
Yeah, Ascendance, as we said before when talking about Mapper, ranked over 100 diffs, like nearly 40 sets. In terms of not just mapping anymore, Ascendance has definitely taken kind of to a new stage in terms of organizing contests for other people. So like the Ultimate Catch Mapping contest and then the Mapping World Cup, as we said, is about to enter its third iteration. They wouldn't exist without Ascendance. Ascendance replaced me in QAT or then NAT once I left, and he was NAT for a little under a year, I believe. Did lots of other work as part of the BN as well, when not part of the NAT. There's very little in this game that's been organized that Ascendance hasn't had a hand in, and the game would look very different if it wasn't for him. Not just in terms of like what maps would get ranked and what styles would be used, but all the contests on both the playing side and the mapping side just wouldn't exist. I know he stepped back from like CTV International this year and is not hosting that contest, but that's in like its 7th running now and wouldn't exist if he hadn't have kept running it. And then as well the mapping contests. So yeah, Catch Society would look very different.
I also like the map the map selection. Showing a big bridge 30 seconds, let's go. But yeah, we're done with the most influential. Now we have one regular category left, is outstanding contribution. It's mostly working on the behind the scenes, like organizing mapping contests, like working for behind, like RC changes and stuff like that. Like you can pretty much guess what the actual category is. Contributing to the game mode directly, not only by mapping, modding, but also other various activities.
So yeah, we could go across to the third place entry in that category, as Nelly said, for outstanding contribution. And this is going to be won by Gemsdu. So as we said previously in a couple of the kind of maps that we've seen before, and also the modder, Gemzu was one of the 2 elite nominators of 2019, so contributed kind of fairly massively to the game in that sense, in terms of pushing people's maps and mapping forward. Also ranked, I think, 60 or so difficulties in 2019, so was very successful on the mapping side. And last but not least, was also part of the winning Catch Mapping World Cup team for that first edition, Team Philippines and Singapore. So from someone who really only kind of started mapping in 2018 and was a very promising newcomer in 2018, to become one of the most influential people and one of the most contributing people in 2019 is really cool to see. Like, again, there's little that Gemzu hasn't really had a part in, and the work that he's kind of done in the future for like the Mappers Guild and the Featured Artist Program in 2020 is going to bode well for him in future years in terms of like this and similar awards.
I mean, his contribution like on mapping scene and modding scene is absolutely insane for 2019, and earning Ally Nominator from also staff directly like speaks for itself.
So I think we'll progress on to second place,
which is again JB Hyperion.
So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about myself again, because I already think I covered most of it in influential, like BN, QAT, GMT, organized some contests, did some commentary. I don't know, like, even though I said I can't really kind of participate too much in this game as much as I want to anymore, because like I'm a dad and that has to take just a little bit of priority, I do love this game, and I wouldn't be the person I am without Catch and without the community. So I want to give a little back.
I mean, the community definitely appreciates you, like, no matter what. So yeah, like you were like, I don't know, the most contributing, like one of the contributing members, definitely.
I've got some life left in me yet, so
yeah.
If you like my maps or you like having me around so you can flame me, then don't worry, I got your back. But yeah.
And now we're gonna move to the real contributor of this game mode, first place, which is Ascendance.
Yeah, I mean, fairly obvious from what we've seen so far. Those 10 first choice votes out of 15 total. Overwhelming favorite in terms of popularity. Like, everything I've said for Gemzu, and then also kind of for me, applies like to Ascendance, but turned up to 11. There was a time 1 or 2 years ago where Ascendance was just known as someone who churns out tons of maps and kind of tries wacky things and finds them quite easy. And people were like, oh, why does he find it so easy? All he does is just make loads of maps. But Ascendance given way more to this game than a lot of people realize. Like, even not just like from the front kind of end of things in terms of BN, QAT, and then NAT, organizing contests, organizing tournaments, like map wall selection, or organizing commentary. It's just kind of crazy how much Ascendance has done, and the game would look, again, very, very different if it wasn't for Ascendance's contributions to the game.
Indeed, I mean, Catch, Ultimate Contest, probably 3 iterations. Also Catch Mapping World Cup. I don't know, various activities behind the scenes, and of course mapping in general, pushing a lot of maps. Sometimes by himself, sometimes for community, for example from I, but yeah. I guess it's one of the categories that he definitely deserves like the spot, like 110%.
Yeah, I think one of Ascendance's kind of greatest strengths in the game now, not so much in terms of his own mapping, but is his ability to gather people. Because anytime Ascendance has an idea, he knows who the people that he needs to kind of bring that idea to life are. And he could just put out a rallying cry and 10 people will answer. And then you have an amazing map set full, jam-packed full of like really good guest diffs, kind of storyboards, hit sounding, Like, even though he's not doing it all himself, the fact that he can gather people like nobody else is such a good asset to have.
So yeah, we're done. We're actually done with the regular categories now. It's not gonna be MCA if it's not for the grand prize of the badge, which is Grand Awards. So what we're gonna showcase first, map or user? I already forgot.
I think we do Grand Map first.
Alright, so we do the Grand Map. Well, of course, every regular category combines all together, plus the community effort, like what thinks the best map is like the star of 2019 itself. This will definitely gotta be the Grand Awards. So we're gonna do map, and then we're gonna showcase the users. And I want to say, the Grand Awards for map is very stacked. Like, that's one of the spoilers, I will definitely say that.
So we're going to get onto that in just a second, but we've seen a couple ties so far, and we're going to see another one here. There is a tie for second place in terms of Grand Award for map, and just before we get into the first of those, there was also a three-way tie for fourth place as well. So the kind of contest, the difficulty, the challenge to get your map into Grand Award for 2019 was insane.
Chroma I, Sadistic Music Factory, Cosmo Bosoki by Jiu Yaktama, and Oriental Blossom, Yumineko Himiko. Like, those three maps are very stacked between each other, but we're gonna showcase only three, which we're seeing on the screen, and one of them is Conflict.
Yeah, we already talked a little bit about Conflict. Like, in terms of experimental nature, it had the Conquest of the Damned difficulty, which was like really anti-meta, lots of really tight wiggles and distances, high slider velocities, strong dashes, that kind of thing. We had the hit sounding, like large parts of it were key sounded. It was really, really good. It won that category, and it was done really, really kind of creatively, fit with the song perfectly. So it just feels like it adds to the song in a way, and not like it feels like they were meant to go together, if you know what I mean. And also, just in terms of leading the featured artist program, this was one of the leading contenders for that category as well. So 5 first choices for Conflict. Bunrei is going to take the joint second place here with Conflict for 2019's Grand Map.
Joining on the second place is Shinobi Killed by Rakma. As we said before, massive solo set of 6 difficulty particular, and one of them is top diff, which you're seeing now. I mean, yeah, like, Rakma's 2019 breakthrough was definitely like the most breakthrough, like one of the stars of this community, and Shinobi Kill is definitely like Shinobi Kill is one of the maps that showcases full potential.
Yeah, Shinobi Kill coming in that second place in the community choice for 2019 as well. So it really was loved by both mappers and players as like a real standout pick in 2019 catch mapping. And as you said, showcases Rockma's rise from someone struggling just to get people to kind of look at his maps to basically being a must-see fixture in the community that everyone turns to, and as soon as they put out a new map, everyone is paying attention. This was, like, as you said, the beginning of the birth of that, and very, very cool to see.
Oh yeah.
But there are tied second place for Grand Map, so there's going to be one winner though. So
only one.
The best map of 2019 in Catch, as voted by you, the mappers, with 9 first choice votes, is, of course, Hype feat. Such Laphix remix.
I mean, yeah, so like previous categories, insane contribution to the map set. Also, Incendi's anniversary to 100 ranked map, treating Tochi as a storyboarder, and there's almost nothing really much to say.
Yeah, we said a little bit about it when we were talking about spread, that just the vast array of difficulties and different styles that were on offer in all of them. It brought together so many people from like the mapping sphere and Ascendance's like career in the environment. We said, as you said, Tochi with the great storyboard, Luminate with the fantastic hit sounds, and then all the way up to that top difficulty that we talked about in the collab section with Ascendance and Spectator. Fantastic work all around, and no matter what level of skill you're at, then there really isn't a difficulty that you can't find some enjoyment out of here. And it's one of those sets that as you get better and you play more, you can keep coming back and be like, oh, I can check out this map now, and I can check out this diff. And every time I come back to this map, I just appreciate it more and more. I really do think that it's deserving of the winner of 2019's Grand Map Award.
So now we're done with mapping. It's time to showcase the best of the users. Grand award. Boy. Guess we can start. Place coming in is, of course, beloved Gemzu. As one of the breakthroughs in 2019. I mean, Allied Nominator. Probably like a top 3 mapper in this category. He's breakthrough as well. Like, and also his immense contribution. Like, I would say behind the scenes is incredible. So I can definitely see him as one of the grand star in 2019.
Yeah, he was the 4th most prolific mapper in 2019, but it was only his 2nd year as a mapper. So the fact that he kind of went from 0 to 100, or in this case 66 rank diffs, was just astonishing, like how quickly he rose. And as you said, the modding contribution was a massive factor in his inclusion here as well. I think I said something like 82 unique nominations, 8 of his own sets, elite nominator, became someone who really wanted to just break the meta and redefine mapping in as many ways as he could, and you could sense that began in 2019. Winning contributor towards the Catch Mapping World Cup first edition, and someone who got on the featured artist Mappers Guild train very early and is one of the most prolific Catch Mappers Guild contributors that there is. It all began in 2019 for Gemzu.
And of course, like one of the maps you see like is from FA, Carpal Tunnel Quest, San Francisco by Gemzu. What a good song.
Yeah, this was another one of the quite early featured artist quests, and I really liked the maps that came out of this quest as a whole because the music was very different and the mapping kind of reflected that. It was nice to see people who until then had mostly kind of focused on fairly safe mapping really kind of break out of their shell and try something new. And I was very eager to help kind of advance this quest and the people that participated in it, and Gemzu was obviously one of those people.
So, jump to the 2nd place. Say the silver star, JB Hyperion.
Glad we get a little bit more Onumi in here. Fantastic FA.
Oh, good map actually. I love it.
I actually think that mine was one of the, not worst, because I still think the whole set, like the whole thing was good, but I think that there were more, like personality and confusion were more creative than my set. But I did have a lot of fun mapping this, and it was very cool to kind of try something different and kind of expand my horizons a little bit. But yeah, 2019, as I said, was one of my kind of final years in terms of really giving my all for the game, because I just can't give as much anymore as I could then. 121 ranked diffs is the joint record with Gemzu in 2020, so I'm sure that's going to be beaten fairly soon. So yeah, go for that if you're ranking lots of maps this year. 21 sets, QAT for 4 months, BN for a few months before I had to step back and focus on real life. And yeah, I've just loved being part of this game and this community, and it's thanks to kind of all the wonderful people that mapped with me and modded and played and gave feedback that I'm still here. So thank you.
So now, with all that being said, there's only one winner that will get the Grand Award, and most of the people already guess who it is. But of course, we cannot really mention Ascendance as one of the parts of the reason, like he was the face of 2019, and I think, and already 2 years in a row, I think, probably even 3 from multiple MCA editions.
Yeah, we've already talked a little bit about Mike in all of the previous categories. 107 ranked diffs, 38 ranked sets, BN, NAT, first place in community choice for I think 5 years in a row, held mapping contests, organized tournaments, participated in ranking criteria discussions, drove forward a lot of stuff in the NAT after I left. Really does not have a part of the game that has not been touched or shaped by Ascendance in some way. I think a couple of times Ascendance and I have kind of shared the honors in terms of like contributions to Catch. This year he has certainly come out on top, but I don't see us as competing anymore. Like maybe in 2016 we kind of antagonized each other and were rivals, but we then kind of realized that we work much better together. So I'm very happy to see Ascendance get that recognition, because he has put in more than almost anyone in this game, and he wouldn't be the person that he is without me, I don't think. I think he'll freely admit that, but I also wouldn't be the person that I am without him. And it's kind of fitting that both of our kind of careers in the game not came to an end, but slowed down pretty much at the same time, and we both kind of get to enjoy our retirement at the same time.
I mean, yeah, like, all I want to say is that he definitely grew, like, in this game. I believe from 2016, like, this is where I noticed Ascendance, and this year where I slowly got into Catch a little bit. I mean, yeah, sometimes his thoughts can be a little bit, like, controversial, but you can't really deny that how much effort he put into this game, like, and definitely, like, 2019, although it wasn't really, like, in reality not his final year, like, because he did a little bit stuff in 2020, but you cannot definitely deny that contribution he did. Plus, like, again, he also, I believe, like, this year, like, to be the biggest thrill was that he organized a cache mapping modding hub, like one of the first from other modes until everyone was trying to create one. Like Radar with Tycho hub, and then I believe Unpredictable with the Mania hub. So yeah, it's definitely, so yeah, like one of his creations definitely influenced by Medians, and yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that we hadn't mentioned earlier, so thank you so much for mentioning that, Nelly. Like, the mapping and modding hub, like that central space for mappers and modders and people interested in following the game and its creations to kind of gather and discuss and exchange ideas, that was definitely like Ascendance's brainchild and is still going strong today. If you're in any way interested in Catch mapping, modding, like what kind of creations are upcoming, and getting to meet mappers and have any questions you have answered, then please do join that Discord. You can find a link to it on Ascendance's profile, and we'd be very happy to welcome you and chat about basically anything to do with Catch mapping, whether it be maps that you've kind of seen here today, or if you're just kind of starting out on your journey and want to learn how to make new and interesting maps, then please do join us.
See people, like, even the biggest jokes in the OSU, which is Catch to Be, can also be really inspiring.
So yeah, don't say we didn't say anything nice. We're kind of building you up and cheering you on too. Everyone can do it. We were all here once where we couldn't do anything and we were struggling how to place fruits in the editor. But I look forward to the future, and of course that future is accelerating rather rapidly, because 2020's MCA is hopefully just around the corner, and we get to do this all again in not too many weeks. And hopefully 2020 will be a little bit fresher in our memories, Nelly.
Yeah, I hope, and I really hope it's gonna be organized like pretty quickly, not in 2019. Because at this point, everyone just forgot about what the hell happened in 2019. And to say like myself, I had to put like hours on figuring out what in the hell happened in 2019 with maps, like what. Maybe like mapping contests and stuff. Like okay, like that's easy to figure out, but. Nah, like, what are the mappers we create? What are the stars of it? Like, what are the users' effort into this game was put? Like, it was a little bit hard to organize, but hopefully, everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, so Nelly and I had to look back 2 years in time and remember what maps and maps got ranked. So I think we deserve like an outstanding contribution award. So yeah, please nominate us for 2021.
Yes,
but yeah,
that's
everything. All of the mapper, all of the user categories, we're done. We have nothing more to present to you for 2019's MCA. So hope you have enjoyed. I'm JB Hyperion, and I've had great fun. Nelly, if you want to say a few words as well, please feel free.
Yeah, so first off, don't forget that Cash is not the first one to showcase. Many will receive their own shoutouts, I believe, in 24 minutes even. So yeah, time flies definitely fast. And there's also storyboarding, and then probably a little bit late after Mania and the storyboards, the real game mode will appear on the standards, so please don't miss it. It's gotta be exciting, I guess. Depends on your own expectations, of course. But yeah, to be like commentating this MCA was definitely my first time, and I definitely had a blast remembering, like, explaining everything what happened in 2019, why specific user did good, why specific map received a spotlight, and some of the fairly controversial maps like Personality was definitely like a little bit fun to memorize what the hell just happened with users' expectations. So I definitely hope I'll commentate more of those.
Awesome. So yeah, thank you very much, Nelly, and thank you very much to everyone who helped make this possible. It was really good fun. As you said, a little bit delayed, but we had fun remembering 2019. Hopefully you all had fun remembering 2019 as well. Congratulations and great job to everyone who was mentioned here, but of course to everyone who wasn't mentioned here as well, like all the people that created maps, all the people that nominated, all the people that modded, everyone who contributed to the game mode. Just because you didn't win an award does not mean that you didn't help make Catch a great game mode and a really welcoming community. So it's not just contributions of the few people that kind of appeared here that make the game great. No matter how big or small, it's owed to everyone to the success that we have. So thank you everyone for kind of all the work that you've done, and obviously just for watching and chatting with us and sharing your opinions and correcting us where we made mistakes. So yeah, stay tuned for Mania in just over 20 minutes, and thank you everyone so much for watching. We will see you again pretty soon. Enjoy the rest of Mapper's Choice Awards 2019.